I will show you true power.
Welcome, Metalheads, coming at you with the theory craft for the spell Acolyte of Chayula. We got it figured out. We're doing multi-million damage comets. Be able to delete all content. We've got some basic theory craft setups for small investment, league start, plus high-end investment, end tier stuff. We're going to be able to delete everything. Acolyte of Chayula is the strongest ascendancy in the game, bar none. So check it out. So on to the big question in the room, why play Acolyte? Slayer, every single content creator tells me that this class is no good. Only 0.8% of the player base plays it. I'm going to explain to you why it's so good before we get into the tech. So here we have the ascendancy tree for the Acolyte. The biggest, strongest thing we got here is going to be Into the Breach. Now what Into the Breach does is it spawns remnants. Purple, blue, and red. Blue leeches back mana to you, red leeches back health, and purple gives you damage as extra chaos. So when we come over here to choice of power, we can make all of our flames purple, which means we get damage as extra chaos. And we also get increased remnant effect, right? We can also take extra chaos resistance here, and then we also can take volatility damage without being hurt, right? So with those things in mind, we can stack an absolute metric ton of damage as extra chaos. You combine that with these remnant nodes, where they can be connected further away, chance to spawn additional remnants, and then over here for chance for their effect to go twice, and then remnant increased effect. And then into the skills, where we have harmonic remnants and remnants post Z, and the skill itself, which also gives increased effect. So what does that mean? So when you add it all up, you end up with 180% damage as extra chaos before you add in volatility. Now if you wanted to cheese volatility and do that before a boss, now you can add an extra 200% damage as extra chaos. If you look at the ascendancy itself, there's no requirements. It's not like increased physical or attack or spell damage. It's just damage as extra, meaning you can run whatever you want and add all that damage extra into you. And for the layman's that don't want to do the math, basically once you have everything going, just 3x your damage, and that's what it's doing. And that's why we play Acolyte. So for the skills, we're going to be going over how they work and how they work with each other. So one of the first skills we're going to be using here is Frost Bomb with Short Fuse. This isn't here for exposure, it isn't here for anything except for generating cold infusions for us. So we're going to use those cold infusions, and then we're going to power up our spark, making our spark do a bunch more damage, but more importantly have more critical hit chance. We're also going to be using Frost Wall. Frost Wall is a cast on critical generator. It's going to hit like 18 times to really make the cast on critical start to go. And it's also our wither generation tech. One cast of Frost Wall puts us at max stacks of wither. And if you don't know what wither is, wither allows us to do extra chaos damage on top of the damage we're already doing. So you heard me mention we're going to be running cast on critical. We're also going to be running Spellslinger. We're also going to be running Bijuborn's belt for the cast on charm use, and then we are also going to be running Spell Totem as well. So if you're getting the theme here, we're going to have multiple damage sources for comets that do multi-million amounts of damage. We are also going to be using Archmage. This is going to take our mana and give us extra lightning damage on top. Really the crux of any mana stacking setup here in the game. Now this may seem like a lot of skills. Most of them are automated. Your main gameplay core loop is going to be put down your Frost Bomb to get infusions, run around, cast Spark, big rares or bosses, you cast your Frost Wall. That's pretty much the gameplay loop. You can automate Spellslinger. Everything else will be automated on its own, and you will do lots of damage. Now, the Theory craft is using Mind Over Matter and Eldritch Battery for a mana stacker. With the nerfs to ES, which weren't too bad, we still want to go some other defensive layer other than ES, because they nerf the crap out of Spell Leech except for Blood Mage. So Blood Mage will be pretty much the only thing that can effectively Spell Leech. So we're deciding to go mana for two reasons. One, it's not affected by reduced global defenses, which is going to be key for us, and then it's also easy to stack to a comfortable level. Now, I'm not saying you can't do other defensive layers. You could go evasion and energy shield. You could go armor, energy shield. You could do straight armor evasion. They've changed the way that deflection stacks and whatnot, and how much armor you actually get out of things. So there is things to play with. Luckily, with the Acolyte with damages extra, we can take advantage of being very flexible. But from what I've come up with for the most damage at the littlest or highest investment, I feel that mana stack is the way to go this league. Now we'll go over the gear and some of the more important passives. I'm going to start at the very top end, what it could be, and then we'll work our way back down to where we can get great damage for little investment, and then we'll go over league start. What should we do for league start? So for gear on the top end, as you can see, we have our damage calculation over here for our Comets at 7 million. That will actually go higher in game, but let's forego the damage numbers here real quick. So for the wand, we have this wand. We're running +1 level skill spells, 24% increased crit hit chance. We're looking for T1 spell damage and chaos damage, max mana, plus level of skills, T1 increased critical hit chance. The gain mana per enemy killed is a flex spot. You could put cast speed here. You could do lots of other things, but the main drivers is going to be plus levels, crit chance, mana, chaos, and spell damage. Next up on the list, we got the Wrathpith Focus. Now this is going to be multiple corrupted, Orb of Architect. We're going to be basing stuff off mana. We have an energy shield helm here. This is a top end energy shield helm. It's currently what I'm wearing this league, funny enough, but we're definitely looking for the corruption for the plus to spirit. And we're going to be doing the 3% increased mana because it is a helmet soul core, and then +1 maximum mana per 2 item energy shield on equipped helmet. Down here, the Ad Series Splendor. Now this is going to be very top end. These are fairly easy to target farm. Not sure how it'll be in 0.5 with changes to Temple, but with my look at the patch notes, I think we should be able to still run at Zeri every 2 runs. So target farming this is possible, but we're looking at, you know, as much energy shield, and then the big thing is item gains bonuses from Socket Soul Cores as it was a helmet. That way we can get the 18% increased mana. Same thing here with the Idle Hands. We're looking at this for once again, the multiple corruptions. We want the increased mana. We want the mana cost efficiency. Boots, we're just looking for movement speed boots with resists. There is some new tech that's going to be to get spirit on boots. This could be another place to get spirit as well. Amulet, we're looking for spirit plus skill levels, mana, increased mana. All right, those are the big ones. Here I've allocated cooked for the 60% increased critical damage bonus, but 25% reduced defenses. Good news about reduced defenses is mana doesn't count as a defense, so any kind of reduced defense literally has no effect on us. First ring we got here is the Original Sin. This is why we're not going like plus cold skills and doing Frostbolt instead of Spark. You could do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But we're looking for the original sin because we want to convert everything into chaos damage, right? Because we have the chaos modifier on the wand and we have chaos damage in the tree, this allows us to really pump this number up, right? So if we're sitting at 7.1 million, let's say I put a different ring in there and we go down to 5.3. So it's a very major damage boost for us. So this will actually be, you know, kind of a non-negotiable. You definitely want to run this. Right here I have an unset ring in here, because I was playing around with the idea of having, I was either swapping out Archmage or running, being able to run Despair. Definitely want that in the mix as well, but there's things that can go. The new ring bases and amulet bases that actually give the plus percentage to mana are actually very strong. I believe we're looking at an 8% gain before catalysts, so very strong there. Those will probably be the ideal ring bases. And we also have amulet bases that give skills as well, so free meta skill, free Archmage, sounds pretty cool too. And then we have the Bjorn belt. The reason I selected this belt wasn't for the cast on charm use. It's a nice happy byproduct, but I'm actually looking at it for the plus 100 to maximum mana. Now you can do a regular belt and get the same effect. You could also run the Ingenuity belt if you really wanted, but there's really no difference in damage or mana or anything like that. In fact, it's probably a little bit of a decrease, generally because we are running, you know, Original Sin. Now, if you weren't running Original Sin, you could probably get some value out of this, but Bijou board or just a regular belt that has a T1 max mana roll, you know, that's where the bread and butter is going to be. Ignore the charms. These will probably all end up being the rarity charms, just because we want to actually proc our cast on charm use. For the sockets, we're looking at a from nothing in the radius of resonance. That's going to be the best bang for your buck as far as being able to allocate without connected to your tree. Being able to allocate from Eldritch Battery is probably a close second, but with a really solid Time Lost Diamond, or Time Lost Sapphire, excuse me, we're going to want to really take advantage of everything that's around resonance. We're going to get so much back for it. Megalomaniac Diamond, this is I've been testing with. I was actually running the one for Cooked this time around, but this we put some mana increased efficiency and mana regen in there just to build a little back. This is empty. Flesh Crucible with Mind Over Mana is probably ideal here. If not, your basic, you know, 2020 crit damage, crit spell damage is probably what's going to be best in slot for here. And then the Time Lost. So this one is crazy good, right? But if you can get 2 notables with increased spell damage, radius to large, and then the Desecration is what's important here. Notable passive skills and radius also grant 1% increased mana. So we want to make sure that we have that Desecration on our Time Lost Jewel to really take advantage of that part of the tree. Okay, now we're going to look at something that is a little less high end and more on the low end, a lot more rare items, right? So we're keeping the wand the same, just for ease of use, right? But now instead of Wrath Pip, we've swapped to a regular rare focus, right? This will give us some mana regeneration, critical hit chance, +2 levels, and we're boosting the chaos and energy shield on this as well. Helmet we're keeping the same. Body armor, now we're running a regular spirit body armor on this, and what this allows us to do is to add charge regulation and siphon elements back in, which is an overall damage and mana increase, because we're going to gain back 3% mana on our skills, or on our remnant pickup. We're rocking the Night Scale gloves here for the crit chance and the mana regeneration. Our crit is high enough where we can basically be regenerating mana at all times, so the detriment to this one is not bad. But there's other options here. In fact, my league start generally is the Diodre's Tenure. Only requires level 30. they are cheap to get, and the extra 100% spell damage bonus is quite nice, and actually a damage increase if we want to go those gloves as well. Can't recommend picking these gloves up to finish your campaign, get into early maps. This is definitely league start glove material. Make sure you grab them. They're super cheap. You can pick up multiples, corrupt them, get some extra sockets. Lots of good value here. Boots, we're still looking for resist and movement speed. The amulet stays the same. Original sin stays the same. Pretty much everything else stays the same. So there is a damage decrease here, but it's not monumental. We went from 7.1 to 5.2. Considering we're talking about 5.2 million damage per comet on average. Now, I have this figured out for just regular bosses, but we can change the calculations on that, and I'll go over that here in a minute. But at any level, talking rare gear, not super optimized, anything over a 3 million damage comet is going to be fine. I think my POB for this league for 0.4 was 3.8 at a top end, and I was carrying 6-man 70 room temples. With the temple nerfs, there's not going to be any content in the game that is going to require that much damage. So this will more than easily do everything juiced as hard as you want for very little investment. The biggest investment here is going to be the wand and the helmet, and obviously the amulet. But with amulet crafting, with the new breach mechanics, I think we're going to be sitting pretty. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the unknowns, what we don't know about, or what I don't know about, and what we're going to do for the league start. The biggest unknown that I don't know about is mana stacking. I've never done a mana stacker before, so what is the actual amount of mana return we need to keep purple flames in it for the extra damages, extra chaos? Now, I have a backup plan if that doesn't work, which is still quite good as well. So let's take a look at it. So for my math and my calculations, with the mana return from collecting remnants, and not including mana on kill, because we're looking at purely a bossing perspective, mapping will be fine. We're going to have about a 2,000 mana return per second. Not knowing if that's enough, we can actually change this from idle hands to night scale, and then that should put us up to the 2200 2300 mana return per second. So barring that's not enough, so let's say we have to drop purple flames and go blue flames for the mana leech, then we're going to have unlimited mana and we will be fine. So if we were to do that, we go from that 7.2 million damage number down to 5.1, 5.2, which is still going to be quite a bit of damage. So even in the worst case scenario, if we have to go and do something else for the sources, we're still in really, really good shape. As far as league start, biggest things that we're going to want to do is get a wand. It doesn't have to be a dueling wand, but if you want to start incorporating Spell Slinger, you can get one early in the campaign. But the biggest thing we're going to be looking for is just spell damage bonus. If we get the extra and mana, if we get the extra chaos, that's life is good. If we get any plus spell levels, life is good. Crit hit chance, life is good, but the crit hit chance we really don't have to start scaling until we get into the interludes, so after Act 4. So it's not super important early on, but we definitely want to scale the spell damage, max mana, and plus levels if we can grab it. All those are going to translate into easy clear. As far as the weapon focus, now we can run a scepter here, we can run another focus. We're looking for we're looking for any plus levels if we can grab it, mana regen, mana, or energy shield, any combination. This isn't going to be as important. For the helmet, we're just looking for energy shield. Any resist that you want. You really don't even need resist for the campaign, but you do want to have at least 30% by the time you get to maps. That's usually like a decent sweet spot to start. As far as the body armor, we're just looking for an energy shield chest. We can get spirit on here is good. Once you get into interludes, you will need a decent amount of spirit. Gloves, I think I already went over this. Diodre's tenure gloves for the extra 100% spell damage at level 30. This is game changing. At this point, by level 30, you probably have 2 ascendancy points, possibly 4. Once you have 4 ascendancy points in these gloves and a wand that has plus any skill levels or spell damage, the rest of the campaign becomes a joke. You're going to easily push deep into maps right off the rip with minimal investment everywhere else. Boots, we're just looking for movement speed as you're getting through the campaign. Amulet, anything, getting through the campaign, anything here helps. Resist, plus levels, spirit. Spirit will probably be the big one that you want to key in on first, and then you can go from there. The ring for Original Sin, more than likely you're not going to be getting this in the campaign, but adding it in early is always good, and it basically fixes your chaos resistance. Other rings, we're looking for increased chaos damage, increased lightning damage, and mana. Resists are going to be an afterthought. We wanted to figure that out going into maps, but just for the campaign, it's not really needed. The belt, we're just looking for a regular heavy belt with mana. Now, as far as the tree, where we want to path to first, so we're going to start here, take all this damage, right? You want to come up here and grab these remnant nodes and this jewel socket. Then from there, we're going to path up to here, grab these remnant nodes and this jewel socket. Then from here, we're going to come over here and grab Infusion of Power. That allows our Spell Slinger to come online. Generally, by the time you have this many points, you have 2 ascendancy points, you possibly 4. Once you have choice of power for the flame remnants, and once you have a way to generate power charges, your spell totem's online, everything's online at that point, except for maybe a level 14 spirit gem for cast on critical archmage, all those things. As far as taking Mind Over Matter and Eldritch Battery, those would be my next 2 steps. However, it's all going to be gear dependent, right? If you don't have enough mana on your gear, if you don't have enough energy shield on your gear, you might want to pick up some other things and then come back to that later. If you have enough spirit, you don't need to take this, right? But taking it early probably isn't the end of the world if you have to do it. But that's pretty much it as far as league start. Once you get up here, you're going to pull all this, and then you're going to start working your way this way. You start grabbing this stuff. This will all fill in once you start getting, once you get your From Nothing from Resonance, and then you'll be just adding damage there towards the end over here. So that's going to be how your league start's going to look. Now, all the numbers shown here, take with a grain of salt. They don't incorporate the damage reductions to Comet, so that will be a little bit of an unknown, but generally in game the numbers are about 20 to 25% higher, so these numbers shown here might actually be very, very close to what you'll actually see in game. I'm going to have more of an in-depth league starter guide coming out once the league goes live, break things down a little more. We're going to be doing crazy things with Chonk this league. We're going to be doing a lot of off-meta builds. We're going to be having a lot of fun. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the channel. And until the next time, we'll see you later.